What's going on, Game Changers? Thanks for tuning in to another PrimeTime GameChangers podcast. If you're tuning in through our YouTube channel or listening in through one of our podcast channels on Spotify, Amazon, wherever we're listening from, we just want to thank you so much for tuning in. This has been just an incredible ride, an incredible year. I cannot believe we're already in the end of December. And we also want to talk about the special guest that we have today.
Yeah, he was on our Christmas episode. And for those that maybe didn't see that, this is my little guy, Packer. And he's got the Packer scarf around him. Some of you might have saw him actually on the Prophetic Pulse that we had just a couple weeks ago, or a few weeks ago. But yeah, he is quite my buddy, that is for sure. So,
I mean, he's so chill, as we've seen in the last couple of appearances that he's had. He just doesn't want to move or.
No.
I wish my kids would actually be this chill. It'd be kind of cool.
So is that your New Year's resolution? Have chill kids?
Yes, I think that's anybody's resolution as kids under 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's adorable, man.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get him up here preaching or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, with him when he's full grown and he gets, more of that confidence. But he's the chillest puppy I think I've ever met. Honestly, he's so chill. Just does not leave my side. He literally will lay on my chest the whole night.
Oh, look, he's staring at me now.
Is he?
What's up, Hacker?
There he is.
Well, folks, we've got I don't know. This show is going to be a little bit more chill and laid back.
I invented chill.
We just want to talk about the reflections.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some of the awesome things that happened in 2024. As you get to the end of the year, it's easy to jump right ahead and start making plans for the next year. But I do think there is prudence, and I also think it's valuable to just go back and reflect on not just the bad that happened, but hey, what are the highlights of what happened in 2024?
Yeah.
Honestly, we have a lot to be thankful for. We're thankful for you guys.
Viewers like you. Thank you.
For your support and always just your prayers.
Mm-hmm.
We loved meeting you guys at OTH this year. We had our first ever Game Changers OTH event. It was so fun getting a chance to meet you guys and pray with you and talk to you a little bit. But it was just a really interesting year in the fact that it seemed like as soon as January 1 hit, we hit the ground running.
Yeah.
But I think there was a bit of I want to call it kind of like a breakout year for Game Changers. I mean, if you think about it, you had the UNO campus visits. We had a chance to really connect with a lot of UNO students, which, by the way, there's going to be more coming with that in 2025. We're excited about that. And then you had at CWS, we went around and witnessed to people. Yes. And that was kind of like your masterminded plan where you just decided to rally 40 to 50 people. We all showed up in downtown Omaha and just kind of went at it.
We were all over the streets, man, from the stadium to we were over kind of by the shopping tents and the beer tents and all that stuff, witnessing to people, and then even some areas downtown I know you guys went to where there was some restaurants and things like that. So, there's just, for many of you that maybe don't know about Omaha, every June for about 10 days, there's a massive baseball tournament that is hosted here. Every single year, the final 8 college baseball teams, there's a big tournament, and then the final 8 teams come to Omaha for a double elimination tournament. And so it's here for 10 days. And so you have 8 major universities and their fan bases in Omaha. And then, even just other people that come in that love baseball. And so it's just an amazing opportunity to really meet new people. And we were giving away merch, we were giving away so many different things, and gained a lot of support from that. Yeah. And so it was really cool. We had Miller Days, which was a carnival that is right by the church every year. So we got to go impact a lot of people with that. Man, I'm trying to think. Well, NRB, we met so many people at the National Religious Broadcasters event. Pray.com, which, we are launched here in the near future very soon. We'll be permanently on their network, as well as Mom and Dad, Hank and Brenda. So I might be out here sharing some news with you guys. I'm not going to go into full details yet on what all is coming, but I just want you to know that their ministry and then our podcast and ministry and brand will all be a part of Pray.com. So
we want to give a shout out to Matt Potter and Robbie Schwartz. You guys are phenomenal. We love you guys.
Yes.
And, they're just doing big things.
Yes. They've been guests on our show. Yeah. We have Matthew Potter and Robbie Schwartz with Pray.com with us today. We love you guys for sure. And so big things ahead there. I'm trying to think, what else did we have this year, man? That was just incredible.
We had the worship night.
Yeah.
Downtown in the Capital District. So that was our first ever really outdoor worship, praise and worship kind of event. And, that one was awesome. I'm looking forward to doing that again this year just because it was so cool to see people wondering what was going on.
Yeah.
And kind of stopping and either listening or where we were at, the venue had high-rise apartments and condominiums. You had people stepping out of their balcony and listening and just wondering. It was just, man, I don't know. I think 2025 is the year of being outside of the four walls. It's time now where we've got to start occupying some of these places that we have, I guess, been apprehensive to go to.
Yeah.
And not saying
more campuses after UNO. We want to hit more like Creighton, UNL, Nebraska Lincoln.
And not saying us apprehensive. We'll go anywhere. It's just the general mindset has always been to invite people in. But
how do you
it's
keep
time
them
for
in?
us to go out. Form those relationships.
Yes.
Stop being so transactional and worrying about, hey, are you coming on Wednesday or Sunday?
Yep.
Getting involved, and then that's an invitation all in itself.
And you got to keep them in, right? But how do you keep them in? It's not just keeping them in. You're invested in your brand or your church or your building or wherever your meeting place is. It's keeping them invested with the friendship and the heart-to-heart connection. And I think people miss that. Is there's an emotional thing of where somebody feels like they can trust you. And I think people miss that a lot. There's a lot of salesmen out there, but there's not a lot of friends and partners and supporters and, people that stand beside you, right? Yeah. It's like everybody can sell what they're doing, but not many people can give and actually stay, next to somebody and say, listen, I got your back.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the thing that was special about this year is so many relationships were built for Game Changers. I think it was just really a breakout year. There was a lot of stuff you and I even did with the political world this year that was really cool. We traveled. We did some things at Flashpoint too. Just a lot for Game Changers this year. I know I'm blanking a bunch of other stuff. We haven't even gotten into the guests that we've had on this year either.
It was a lot, man. It was, I don't know. I don't know about you, but I guess for me, one of the highlights, I was just so humbled to just be a part, man, to partner with you.
Yeah, man.
I was humbled to see God really just expand I guess what you and I even initially thought about Game Changers. With
5-6 years ago, man,
with the clothing line and the brand launching, but you also think about just who all we've been able to connect with, and
more vendors. Speaking of merchandise,
yes.
So
a big shout out to pastors Hank and Brenda, Pastor Christy, Pastor Shane for even allowing us to have a platform and supporting us. That's been
picking us up on their network too. OVTV.
And I don't know, and maybe for people listening, maybe you feel the same, or maybe you're hoping, but it's just, I think 2024 was all about fully submitting and surrendering and pressing in to what God wanted. We saw that with the outcome of the election results.
Yeah.
But I think 2025 is an even greater opportunity to let go of the fear, let go of the doubt, stop making excuses for delaying or why you don't want to launch that business, or why you don't want to pursue God 100%, or why you feel like you have to be people pleasing. Just let God use you and see where he ends up taking you. Because I look back on this year and I'm like, dude, if we hadn't, if I would have decided that, I don't know if I want to do this or that, there would have been so many things that we would have missed out on.
I agree. And the other big thing too to think about is just the stuff that really hits me. Even the website,
Yeah.
How many people were coming to our pages? We've branched out bigger on the website, PrimeTime GameChangers, and then you have YouTube, and everything we've done with.
Shout out to the social media team.
Yeah,
love you guys.
So, it's just massive, and with our guests, I mean, my gosh, we obviously mentioned Pray.com.
Mm-hmm.
We had Blake Trinan.
Let's welcome pitcher, man of God, Blake Trinan. Give everybody a hand clap around the world.
Who literally won his second World Series ring as a pitcher with the Dodgers. He took a massive stance, which, shout out to him. He just got his contract renewed with the LA Dodgers. Shout out to you, man. A new 2-year deal for $22 million. So
good for him.
Good deal.
Getting paid.
Yep. So he is back with the Dodgers on another contract, which to pretty much get re-signed after being, with your contract being up and then getting offered another, that means obviously they trust his arm, and that's what we laid hands on, man, when you were at OTH.
Well, he actually battled through that injury.
2023, he came to OTH, and so came back and won two games of that World Series run, and was really a postseason hero for them. So massive shout out to you, man. And obviously that's what happens when you take a stand for God, is God remembers those who didn't lose their integrity.
Correct. Yeah.
So that was amazing. We had my childhood guy that I looked up to, Brett Favre.
Brett Favre, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
We love you, man. Your stance with the stuff politically. Obviously, nobody that watches sports forgets the accomplishments that you've made, man. 3-time MVP, NFL Hall of Famer. At one point, retired owning every single passing record. Still is like top 3 in like every single record out there of yards, touchdowns, completions. I mean, but the one that really stands out is the 321 straight games where that is like almost 20 years of just never missing a game. It's incredible. That is a record that will never be broken, especially in today's game of all these, safety measures and, all of this stuff. And that's just a testament of how tough you are physically and mentally, Brett. And so, you never wavered in your stance either with President Trump, your stance on America. And so, big shout out to you. Other guests, NRB, my gosh, we had John Arroyo, Captain John Arroyo.
Yeah. Retired Army Captain John Arroyo. Thank you.
Pastor,
serving our country too.
Brother, I just thank you.
With
Talking
his
about
story,
that was
man,
crazy.
You guys got to go back and watch that.
Yeah.
He kind of pulled the Trump before Trump, going back to the place where he was shot
did.
at.
And he said he did that because he didn't want any kind of fear.
Yes.
He didn't want any kind of spirit of PTSD to overtake him. So he went right back to the spot where he was shot. So, and it was interesting to see several months later, Trump did the same thing. Which is
Help
awesome.
me out with some more. That stuck out.
Well, one group that stuck out to me a lot was Gary and Melissa.
Yes.
So please welcome Gary and Melissa.
Thanks so much.
Well, let's start with Melissa talking about.
We spent that whole month of June with them on the Pride Month talking about that stuff.
We were exposing Pride Month, and they hearing their perspective, man, was
from their childhood when they grew up in that, and then they felt themselves even dealing with that, and they had to get free from it at a young age, and grow up into what God had, for their life. And because they both dealt with homosexuality and everything at a younger age, and then here God brings them together and they're a married couple reforming that whole thing.
Yeah, and then now they're running a ministry helping other churches be able to minister to people to help them out of that lifestyle. And to me, it was a very good perspective to share. That we can't just tell people, don't do this. Like you were mentioning earlier, there has to come a point where we've got to stop being transactional.
100%.
We've got to start getting involved in people's lives and discipling, equipping, helping them, and not just leaving them hanging out to dry. And so Gary and Melissa were really awesome guests to have on, and we hope to have them on again in 2025, to talk about that as we head into June and July and those different months. But I also think about Pastor Carrick Butler. Please welcome Pastor Carrick Butler.
Fellas, thanks for having me.
Oh, man.
That guy is just a machine. Every time I see him on social media, he's shaking hands with the mayor, shaking hands with someone in Congress. Like, he is the definition of getting outside the four walls and establishing those relationships in community and showing people that the church is here to serve and is here to actually be a voice in every area of the community. So big kudos to Pastor Carrick. He's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. Just the amount of people that, we had on this year that really just are making an impact wherever they're at in their communities and different things like that. So, I'm really thankful for that. I know NRB in February is going to be awesome too for us to be out there. But, it was awesome. Even OTH, just the amount of people that came up and told us, like little kids, like what their favorite episode was of Game Changers.
That was really cool.
It was just awesome. Or people that are like from all over the world that say, oh, we watch you in Canada or we watch you in this state or country. And it's just like very humbling to just hear the support from you guys from around the world and know that you guys are praying for us. You guys are standing beside us. There is no more of a humbling feeling than that. And so I just want to thank everybody for that. But, and it really, man, is awesome just what God is doing. I know like there's going to be some big stuff with the merchandise and all that stuff that we're really doing. We're really turning this not into just, when we say ministry, we mean that in so many different ways, right? Like we want it to be a brand. We want it to be a business. We want it to be a clothing brand where people can be reached by the merch, by the clothes, by whatever. I mean, it could be, not even just clothes. It could be like, protein shaker cups. I mean, everything. Like we literally can do whatever we want with that logo. And we want to reach people with that stuff, with like the cool stuff that, we can give and sell and market and all that. But also like, yeah, we do want to be that ministry where that person needs that helping hand or that prayer or that encouragement, those words, that sentence, that paragraph, whatever. And then obviously the show, like, there's a lot we have planned, especially now with pray.com. Like we're expecting, some big things. We're planning to go on the road, do some road shows and speak at some places, some conventions, some different things like that. So, it's just really growing and getting bigger. And so, it means everything when somebody comes up. Like one thing that stuck out too, I went to a Packer game back in, I want to say October, so just a couple months ago, and I went to the pro shop in the stadium, and two random people that live in Wisconsin walked up and said that they watch Game Changers and that they love it, and I'm like stunned. I'm just shocked, and so it was nice and got a picture together and all that stuff. But that's the kind of stuff that like you never forget. And my prayer is that next year's even like bigger than what 2024 was. I think about all the episodes that we fought for America. I think about the stuff that we stuck our neck into the battle, into the fight, and said like, we're going to put ourselves out there and we're just going to speak truth. And, we don't care what the left loonies or, people think. We're just going to speak what needs to be said, and we're going to stand up for righteousness. We're going to stand up for truth and be a voice. And I think that's the thing that truly is important and remarkable too.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I wanted to give a shout out to Gerard. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gerard White.
Dude, my guy. Yes.
He was
that's another
speaking out, man. He was it's always a pleasure.
A few times, man.
Yeah, we're going to have to do more with you, Gerard. We just wanted to give you a shout out and just, honor you and say how much we appreciate you. But man, you're right, Matt. I'm excited because the word that I kept hearing of the season that we're in is rebirth.
Oh yeah.
You hear a lot of talk about Reformation, but Reformation really is in a way, it's kind of like in a natural sense, things being reset and shifted and changed, but a rebirth speaks of something spiritual. And I believe God is rebirthing a lot of things in this nation. He's rebirthing a lot of things in your own personal life, our own personal lives. And the more that we are willing to submit to his will, and the more that we're willing to, like you said, put ourselves out there to do things, you say this a lot, to do things that we've never done before and to challenge ourselves to be in uncomfortable positions or situations, I think it's going to allow God to do some miraculous things through us. And we want you guys along for the journey. This isn't just a podcast like Matt was saying, but we also are planning to do some things in person. We're expanding in 2025. We're meeting twice a week going forward in 2025, second and fourth Fridays. We're going to start having some teachings where we get in there and start really just equipping and discipling you on various topics. So if you want to come, be in person. We're meeting the second and fourth Friday nights of every month. Come check us out right here in Omaha. This is going to be consistently throughout each month. We'll obviously advertise some of the topics we'll be talking about and where we'll be going, but we want you to be a part of this movement. We don't want anybody to miss out on what God has given you and the assignment that maybe you don't know what that is, but hey, come be a part of the community that we're building here in Omaha so that you can get in the room. You can get a part and be a part of what God is releasing and revealing, and I guarantee you that you will start to understand and know better what your assignment is, because I know that God is wanting to do something with this group on a local level that's going to take it to an even greater sense nationally, because you talked about the road shows, but it also starts by being in person. So I think, if anything, if there's a thing that you want to do more next year of traveling, hey, throw Game Changers on that list. Come see us. Come check us out. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, and I think even with some of our guests we've had on the show, it'd be cool to have them in person at some events and stuff. And, you know, I even think about Brian Schwartz.
Let's welcome man of God, Brian Schwartz, to the show.
What's up, fellas?
I mean, his story that he mentioned with the Jacksonville Jaguars and like how he got through some mental health issues and things like that with a total like healing from the Lord the moment he gave his life to the Lord. And playing in the NFL, he was a high draft pick. And, you know, I think about Doc Darcy
Brunk and his son Justin.
And all the stuff he's done in reforming health and everything. So shout out to you guys as well, because, you know, there was so many years that we lived in with lies of how to take care of your body, and we've stuck up for that stuff, man. You know, or against the you know, ridiculous agendas, you know, with the vaccine and all of this stuff with the pandemic and COVID, this and all of that stuff. And so having a guy like Doc Darcy on was awesome to really just, you know, educate people in health and how that really we can take authority over our bodies as well with our words. It's not just what you put into your body in the natural, it's what you put in the spirit. And I think that was really cool how we got to sit down with him.
He had a lot of great revelation because he kept saying it starts in the blood.
Yeah.
And it just goes back to the testament of the power of the blood of Jesus.
Yeah.
And how God made our bodies to consistently regenerate. You don't need these medications. You don't need these drugs. I'm not saying if you're on medications to stop taking them. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that God has made health and wholeness part of your covenant inheritance and rights. And I believe, like you were saying, as we head into the next couple of years, the next few months, as they begin to unravel and unfold some of the lies that have been told through healthcare and big pharma, I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised of what is already available to us to help us to continue to live healthy lives.
100%. And I think, too, you know, how we talk is so important. I know we kind of touched on this in last year's episode around this time, but how you leave something is how you enter something, right? We've talked about this. And that just is so important. Like, what is your outlook, you know, of leaving 2024 or going into 2025? And I think that's what I want to just kind of hit on here in these last few minutes is like, we're leaving, you know, we should be leaving with a positive attitude, a positive hope. It's like, you know, if you leave a job in a toxic way, you're going to enter a new job in a toxic way, right?
That's true. Right.
You know, you don't want to bring a bunch of baggage and problems with you into a new year, right? So you need to look back and say, this is what I'm like taking with me, and this is what I'm letting go of. Because I think the reflection of like what God has brought you throughout the year and what he has brought into your life as far as favor and blessing is so important. And then I do think there's that part where you have to like be willing to say like, these were the things that were not good that I need to say goodbye to and let go in 2024. I'm not bringing it into 2025. It could be a mindset. It could be a relationship or person or people. It could be a business, a job. It could be, you know, a living situation. I mean, really anything. But then, like, on the flip side, there could be those things vice versa, that you should bring in some of those things into the new year. So I really believe that mindset of how you leave a thing is how you will enter something. So like how you exit something is how you'll enter something. And, you know, it's so important. Like if you did wrong by a job in the past and you didn't make your heart right or clear the air with, you know, those people and leave in a positive way, then you're really entering that job bitter, that new place bitter. So you need to make sure your heart is right with those people, with God, etc. And like really just make sure that you are not carrying pain, hurt, bitterness, etc., toxicity into the new year. I think it's so important to like this is why we kind of just reflected on all that God did for us in this year, because we're trying to teach you a lesson here, ladies and gentlemen, that legitimately it is about reflecting on the favor and the blessing that God has bestowed upon you in 2024 so that you can enter 2025 saying, all right, now I can build upon it. And now I just have the expectation of like, this is just like extra sprinkles on top of the ice cream now, because God's done so much for me in 2024. Now we're just adding layers and more scoops to the ice cream now, and more sprinkles and, you know, the toppings now. This is just double blessing, right? Yeah. So it's like you're having that mindset now that, you know, now it's like just wow me, God. You know what I mean?
I love that.
I think that's the thing.
That's good.
So we need to enter 2025 believing that God can do immediate releases.
I want to leave everybody with this, and real quick before I read this scripture real quick, because I think it's going to build on what you just said, but I want to give a shout out to my wife, Shayna. Thank you for putting up with me in 2024. There was a lot of big changes. I forgot I got ordained this year.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Anthony.
Yeah, shoot, dude. How did we not
in the midst of everything?
Yeah.
And
man,
you know, it's just been a wild ride.
Save that for last. About dropped. Yeah, about a minute here, and you remember.
Yeah.
But see, that's a testament of what God's done, with how easy it is to sometimes like forget everything.
Yeah.
Because He's done so much, and you sit back when you really take time to reflect on it. You're like, shoot, I forgot my own ordination.
Yeah, He's a good God. But I want to leave everybody with this. This is from 1 Corinthians 13, verse 11 and 12. It says, "When I was a child, I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child. But when I grew up, I put away childish things." And that, folks, is really what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Hey, if you made some mistakes in 2024, all good. But 2025, let's strive to continue to mature, to continue to grow, to continue to change, and to continue to be just a walk in a measure of wholeness, a greater measure of wholeness than what you had walked in before. Maybe there's some things that you have an opportunity to learn in, new skill sets to build. Yeah. Perhaps there's things that you're learning about yourself that maybe were, I would say, maybe toxic behaviors. And now, now that you've been made aware of that, you're coming into a place now where you're walking in a healthier version of yourself and what God has called you to be. And I believe that this is just going to be an amazing year for you. And like I said, like Matt said, we're excited to be a part of the journey, and we hope that you guys come with us too.
Amen. Well, we love each and every one of you. Thank you for riding with us in 2024. Let's continue this journey in 2025, changing the game wherever we're at. And Happy New Year to each and every person. Don't forget, you can still join us on our New Year's Eve service, December 31st. Mom and Dad will be laying hands on every single person in the room that night. So if you have plans,
get to the tabernacle.
Yeah, get to the tabernacle, which that's another testament of what God has done. I just got a text from some
people that moved and are coming all the way from where they moved to back here just for the service. So make sure to get here.
Yeah, the new tabernacle is definitely another testament of what God has done. So, guys, like I said, appreciate you riding with us in 2024. Yeah. We pray that you guys will continue to ride with us in 2025 as we continue to touch lives around the world and change the game wherever we're at. It doesn't matter if it's merch. It doesn't matter if it's this show. It doesn't matter if it's events. It does not matter what we're doing. We're going to use it to change the game. And so we love you guys. Again, Happy New Year, and we'll see you on the other side in 2025. Bye-bye.